Orange County Board of Education to order. Let the roll call reflect that Mr. Angel was unable to be here. Myself, Mr. Brogan, Mrs. Harvey is here in person, and Ms. Farley is with us on the phone. At this time, I would like to ask Easton if he would like to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, now approval of agenda and any adjustments.
Need to make a motion that we put, Take Safe and Sound and RT Rogers off the bills to be paid separately.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Brogan and a second by Ms. Harvey to take RT Rogers and Safe and Sound off and do those separately. Is there any further discussion? Okay, all in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Let the record reflect by a 4-0 vote, motion carries.
Make a motion that we approve the agenda with the aforementioned items or adjustments.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Ms. Harvey and a second by Mr. Brogan. All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Abstaining? Let the record reflect by a 4-0 vote, the motion carries. Now moving on to pause for applause.
Marty man.
Smarty man?
Easton.
You gotta
It's not
stand,
me.
you gotta stand by her, man.
This is Robin Hood and Mary Moon.
You can be on camera.
That's perfect.
So, Easton Dickinson and Nathan Angel, made it to the championship. It used to be called Worlds, and now it's called Championship. NASP, which is National Archery in Schools Program. It's an archery tournament. And, we were very fortunate that these two young men, well, Nathan's not here, made it, this year to the championship. It was in Daytona, Florida. We just got back Sunday. And I have their certificates. I was going to give them with their stats. But before I do that, is there anything you want to say about the trip?
It's a good experience to go down there and to see all them young kids down there. And you meet a lot of new people. That's either the same personality and same everything. It's not like football, basketball. It's all competitive. It's just a nice, relaxing sport. You can still have fun, but yet be competitive at it.
And for them to make it there, they have to participate in local tournaments and they have to make it to the state tournament. So both of these boys made it to our state tournament and then they placed in our state tournament, which sent them to the Eastern Nationals, which was in Louisville, Kentucky. And both of the boys placed at the Eastern Nationals, and that's what got them to the championship. And the championship is between Eastern National and Western Nationals. So they did very, very well. We like to thank the community for your support in helping us get there. They got to fly. I don't think Easton had ever flown in a plane. So that was an experience. I know his mom was a nervous wreck flying. They got to experience a lot of things that they wouldn't have gotten to do. They saw Danny sprain his ankle, so they stepped up and helped Danny walk around on the beach because on crutches on the beach in the sand is not fun. Met all kinds of people. They got to meet Bob Morrell from Morrell Targets. who else did you guys meet? Danny met a guy that was a Washington Redskin, previous football player and had both of his, Super Bowl rings on. They got to listen to live music. We had this whole big discussion about who Foreigner was. They have no clue who Foreigner was. So we had that. Got to eat a lot of good seafood in different places. Anything else?
How did he place?
Nathan, just so you know, at the tournament, there was right at 3,000 kids overall that shot. That's boys and girls, elementary, middle, high school division. Nathan on the high school division, he shot a 283, a perfect score is 300. He ranked 99th out of 497 high school boys that participated and 22 out of 105 12th grade boys. His overall rank out of everyone that shot was 151. So Nathan, if you know Nathan, he's a very quick shooter. He's either on or he's not. He likes to shoot and be done, and sometimes getting held up kind of throws him off of his game. But we're very proud of Nathan, and this was Nathan's last year. He's a senior, so he won't be with us any longer, except we did tell him he had to come back and help coach. Easton is 11th grader this year. He did very, very well. He ranked 14th out of the 497 high school boys that shot. He was 4th out of 118 11th grade boys that shot, and his overall ranking was 16th. So that's
nice.
a big, major accomplishment.
Was there one more accomplishment that I noticed? The board president, you had a little bet with the board president. What's going on with him shaving his beard? Did you have something to do with that?
Yeah,
I bet that's a big accomplishment for you.
well, from 6th grade, the deal was, if I ever shot 295, I could cut his beard. And this year, I cut his beard. 295.
That's awesome. So that's another record that needs to be put up there,
Yes.
that you made a grown man shave his beard. So good job, man. I like that. That's pretty cool.
And with his 295, Easton is ranked 30th across the country, for
That's
high
impressive.
school, the boys shooters. So I'm talking about Eastern and Western Nationals. With his 295, he is ranked 30th.
Did the East beat the West? The East beat the West.
Well, the girl that won was from Texas, so I think she's considered Western, but the boy that won, no, he's from Missouri, so Western, I guess it's in the Western. Yeah, so, but they did very well, and I think they had a good trip, and again, we want to thank the community for supporting us and helping us get there.
One more comment. Next year, I'm sure you're only going to get better. So next year, when we have this meeting and the recognition, bring a target. Let us see exactly what it is how the scoring system works.
Sure,
Tell him
and
to
we
go put an
invite
apple on
anybody
his
to
head.
come out and watch us shoot.
See if I'll do that.
Maybe we can
Mr. Brogan, he has
shoot down the
he has a
aisle.
question for you about that target.
Will you let me put an apple on your head?
If you stand real close, we'll talk about it. Not from 10 or 20 yards, whatever y'all see. But the close range we'll look at.
Right.
Appreciate you
Anybody have
guys.
any questions?
No, we're impressed with them. That's
Right.
pretty cool.
Yes.
Nice job. Do you still have your
Congratulations,
turkey?
Easton.
Well,
And they,
don't you have a turkey running around
And we
your
like
farm?
the shirts,
She's still alive?
Mhm.
All right.
Both of them are.
That's cool.
Bullseye and Beaches. We love the shirts that they made.
I saw you make comment about, is it
Absolutely
Corel?
Perfect.
Morel.
Morel. I saw that on the back of his shirt. I thought, okay. Must be a big sponsor.
They are.
Are they? That's cool. Well, good job, man. You represent us well.
Thank you, appreciate it.
congratulations, Easton.
Thank you.
You don't have to hang around if you want to get out of here. I will go.
Yeah.
Okay, you're allowed to get out of
Thank you,
here. Thanks, Marty. Appreciate you.
All right. Next is public comment, and we have one, Mr. Seifert.
Mr. Who?
Is that, how did I pronounce that?
Corey.
I didn't see that
Oh,
on
that's
there.
SEYFL. That's Southern. Yeah.
Okay.
That's it.
Well, I appreciate you guys taking my comment. My name's Corey Holland. I'm over the SEYFL.
Okay,
Yeah,
Okay.
so that's the youth football program here. Let me see how I want to start this. I've been playing it in my mind a lot. And I don't want to be harsh on anybody. I don't. But the only one in this room that's helped me is Chad Miller. Okay? That falls on me. That's my bad, right? So I just wanted to come to this meeting and say, we're with youth football. We do use your guys' facility at the, high school. And it just seems like that there's always an uphill battle down there, whether it be administration, whatever. So now I wanted to take this moment to say, hey, I'm Corey Holland. I'm over youth football. I know we're building a new middle school, but it don't do us a dang good if we're building a middle school if we ain't filling it. So, I would hope, within years past, we've had football coaches, and nothing against Evans. He took me in, we worked together as best we could, but with Justin, I think it's going to be a big impact here, because he's got a kid in you. So I think it's going to be a good thing. One thing I did want to ask here, because, we are the black sheep of the sports community, right? Because we're the younger ones, right? When you're in JV and varsity's there, who gets presidents? Varsity, right? So we're the younger ones. And we always have to store our stuff in the baseball concession stand. Well, last year we got locked out of it. Chad, you got me a key. You remember all that fiasco. So I believe there's enough room down there, and I wanted to ask what your guys' thoughts was. If we could get us a small, it don't have to be a great big building, just a small, I don't even know if a 10 by 10 would be the biggest we need. We just need somewhere down there to store something where we have access to it. And I don't care who has a key to it. I just need to know that I always have access to it, right? Because Unrow, whether Unrow's here or not, whoever the baseball coach is, they want, I get it, they want their facility, they want to upgrade it, all that good stuff, and they don't necessarily want 4, 5, 6, 7-year-olds in it, right? So with what we do, we're going to have those kind of kids in it.
Because of silly laws that we have to abide by, we can't engage in dialogue over this because it's not on the agenda.
Okay.
Maybe could he be placed on the agenda
for like,
to talk about it
for the next
for
meeting.
the next
Yeah.
meeting?
Yeah, this is new to me, so
Right.
yeah. So,
I get it.
yeah.
But, I don't know, maybe you would have some suggestions that you could offer. I don't even know if that's legal, but.
I
I know we
don't
can-
have any, I didn't know there was a problem, so.
I'm not necessarily saying it's a problem.
Yeah.
It's an inconvenience is what it is. It's not necessarily a problem. It's an inconvenience for youth football.
Okay.
That's what it is.
We can get you on the agenda for next meeting,
Okay.
then we can talk about it.
Okay.
Or I can do you one better, just come and see Chad and I, and we can just sit down and talk with you.
There you
And then
go.
if we need to bring it in front of the board, we can, but this sounds like if it's an inconvenience, we can hear
Probably
what
easy fix.
yeah, that's what I was gonna say.
Okay.
I like inconveniences. Everything's important, but not everything's an emergency.
Yeah, that's right. That's
And
right.
yeah,
Yeah.
so you're good.
Okay.
No, you're good.
Hey, well, listen, I thank y'all for listening to me. And if y'all have any problems, please, trust me, if you have any problems with the little kids at, the facility down there, please contact me, because they ain't perfect, I promise you.
Thank
You're
you.
good.
Yep.
Thanks,
Thank you,
sir.
guys.
Cool. All right. Now moving on to presentations. Kim Legg with Game Changer.
Mhm. She brought an entourage with her tonight.
Well, I invited them, because they're the people that they're doing the work in the schools, and I appreciate them, and I just wanna, just thank you guys, number one, for coming in, and thank you also for the stuff that you're doing for Game Changer in the schools. So I always tell them what a good job you're doing, but I want you all to hear me tell them what a good job you're doing, because I appreciate you all so much.
We don't have much doubt about that.
Well, that's good. That's probably good to hear too, right? So I just, I want to kind of give a summary of, what they have done this year. So for our, I think the last time I was here and talked to you guys, I was in the middle of doing peer leadership training, which was great, great kids, and I told you guys that then. We ended up training 19 peer leaders, in February, so there's a mix of middle school and high school in that training. I think we're only losing one of the peer leaders. She was a senior, and I think there might be one that's moving. So I guess we're maybe losing two, but we'll do a new training and we'll add new peer leaders this coming year as well. I would like to do that probably earlier in the year, so they'll be ready, and trained. I think the whole first year of what we do in all of the schools is really just to get an idea of what is already happening in the schools and really to get the program up and running. So this year, there will be a lot more implementation as far as the things that the peer leaders will be doing, the things that the coaches in the elementary schools will be doing. So, but this year, and next year, they'll probably be able to hit the ground running. And the peer leaders have several ideas for things that they want to do. So, and also they suggested maybe that I meet with the leadership team at the high school to kind of talk about, what Game Changer is with them as well. They plan to work, and develop some Game Changer lessons to do in their advisory program. So I'll work with them on developing those. We're also implementing, a couple of different curriculums within the middle school and the high school. So you guys are in a unique situation because you are a middle school and a high school. There's a Teen Intervene, which will be in the high school. So that will look at students that are already, that may possibly be engaging. We're ultimately a prevention program, but we also know that there are students that are already engaging in things like vaping and things like alcohol use and things like that. So this will look at, kind of a referral system, kind of like a tier 2 prevention programs before it develops into a full-blown, what we would consider a substance use disorder. So they've maybe tried vaping and things like that, but it gives a referral system to help with that. And then the model smoking prevention program will be in the middle school, and that helps to target things specifically as far as vaping and things like that, because we know through research that the majority of kids don't wake up one day and think, I'm going to go start doing heroin or something like that. It starts with things like nicotine, alcohol, and marijuana. So we want to target those things and talk about just making healthier decisions around those substances. So those curriculums will be implemented into what we're already doing as well. The peer leaders have also talked about doing public service announcements. I think that there's a cooler, more up-to-date term than public service announcements, but that's basically what they would be, to talk about things like alcohol use and vaping and things like that. And that's just for them to get out into the community and into their peers as well through Facebook or however kids best communicate. We worked very hard the 2 days that I had them to develop their why. Why are they choosing not to use substances? And some of their stories, and this is true through all of the different peers that I trained throughout my different schools, some of them have some pretty compelling stories. And what I have gathered is they really want different for their lives than what they have seen through their parents or other people in their community. These kids want different for their lives, and they want to help their peers have a better life as well. So a lot of those stories are very, very strong. They want to possibly set up a table at Railroad Day. So I have swag that I was able to give them for the peer leaders and for the elementary schools, but things like lip balm with the Game Changer logo, their stress brains with the Game Changer logo, and I will be able to get those if they set up tables at Railroad Days or something like that. I can give those to hand out to the community as well, and they have signs and banners that they can use as well. And they still plan to work with the elementary school students to talk about, especially to those fifth graders, because what I learned talking to the fifth graders is they're all convinced, all of them, that everybody at that middle school is vaping. They are convinced. And I said, but I promise you they're not. But they're not going to listen to me. They're going to listen to those 6th, 7th, and 8th graders that come and talk to them. But they're going to listen to those high school kids that are saying the majority of us are making healthy decisions. And that's why I think that this is so much more effective, because kids are so much more likely to listen to their peers than they are adults. So those are just some of the things that they are planning on doing and that we kind of covered throughout the year. In our elementary schools, we talked a lot about building out the program. So we know that prevention works best when the people around those kids are involved as well. So we looked at some of the things that we got back, like a lot of the feedback I got was there's not a lot of, the parents are not really informed. So we looked at times that we know that the parents are engaged. So when are they at school? When can we get them information? What kind of information might they need? So, or who would be best to deliver that kind of information? So we talked a lot about that. The coaches that are in the school, the counselors are doing a great job as far as developing prevention education. But prevention can't just be one 60-minute conversation. It has to be 61-minute conversation. So it can't just be coming from one person. So having these different programs in there to using the same language, so they're hearing that over and over and over and over again, is what's going to make the prevention work that they're already doing much more stronger, because it's not just one person saying that. And then they have the peer leaders, of course, that are coming and talking to them as well. We started talking about developing a prevention team within the school, so people that can help the coach, so the coach is not just doing it all on their own. We talked about maybe even developing some mini lessons that they can do, like embedded in some of their other classes, as far as like their gym class, because there's that kind of goes hand in hand. The gym class and the health classes kind of go hand in hand. At a couple of the elementary schools, they already have a positive behavior support plan in place. So we developed a plan with Game Changer dollars, so they are able to get more reinforcement for just making those healthy choices and making those healthy decisions, and they're rewarded for that as well. We covered lessons as far as what I talked about, what is health, healthy decisions. We talked a lot about refusal skills, and we talked a lot about how to help a friend, because that's that piece that we tell them to just say no, but we don't necessarily tell them why and tell them how. So that those pieces kind of help with that. And next year, when I come in and do the lessons that I do with the students, I can also work a little bit more with the coaches and find out, is there something specific within those lessons that they're seeing that's happening? So if there's bullying that's happening, I can really target with my lessons on that, how to help a friend, or those refusal skills. If you're seeing things along those lines, I can target my lessons a little bit more to go along with what's actually happening in the school as well. Also throughout the county, all the students got t-shirts from pre-K to 5th grade. And then for the senior that graduated this year, we provided a Game Changer honor cord and a letter of appreciation and a Game Changer certificate that she got as well. So I've said this before, what I like best about you all is because your whole county is involved. So you have that Game Changer logo and the kids are starting to really recognize what that means. So they call me the Game Changer lady, and I will take that title over just about any other one that I can think of, because they know what that means. They know that I'm there to talk about healthy choices and about staying away from substances and things like that. So I would much rather be correlated with that than probably some of the other names that I have been called. So to be fair, I will take Game Changer lady for sure. But they're seeing that they're getting the swag, they're getting the lessons. When they get to the middle school, they have that peer leadership, and they have those people that they can connect with. So they know it's not just me that's not using substances. And then of course we had Renee and Sadie that were, I heard that they were here last meeting, yeah. And so you guys kind of heard from them, and they were great. I was able to be there when they were filming as well. And one last thing, I've always had the kids, and I haven't even shared these with you guys. But I have the kids at the end of my peer leadership training, tell me something that they liked, something that they learned. So these are from the kiddos that were in the training. I had a really good time and learned a lot. I personally feel more confident with myself and being able to speak out, share my opinion. I felt supported and think that this program is doing great things and really honored to be part of this and make a change. I do hope more people join and share their opinions. Something I learned was to communicate with others and to have the ability to talk with peers about substances and the reason for not wanting to do them. I also loved everyone who is in the program as well. I learned new public speaking skills. I really liked being with people my age and putting positive thoughts about, putting out positive thoughts about stuff. I learned how to speak confidently and how to get to the point while presenting in the most effective way possible. I liked how we went through and practiced these skills. I believe that these last few days have been very useful. We have also learned different ways to present to certain age groups and how to keep them engaged while also informing them on the ways to say no and be safe. I learned that you don't always have to be nervous even when you talk in front of older people. That was from probably one of the middle school kids. I have learned better ways to say no. I really like the experience. And a lot of these are just more about, I really enjoyed the experience and I learned. This is I enjoyed the camaraderie and the deeper dive into how to speak in public better. So those are just some words from the kiddos that were in the training. But I appreciate the opportunity to speak with you all again. Thank you very much. Do you guys have any questions for me or?
R2D2 does.
Anybody translate that?
Renee, you got anything?
No, thank you.
How many kids did you say were in the peer leadership training?
The peer leadership, there were 19. Yep, and then
We've got one graduated.
one moved, and then I'll work with the coaches again next year so we will have upcoming fifth graders that are coming in, and there may be some more high school or middle school kids that weren't involved this year that can be. And I know that they talked about, having time to meet, and they probably will do that whenever their club time is as well. So they can really work on the goals that they have set. So will be for the community and for their schools.
Thank you for coming. This past year, we've had several expulsions for fake use. We've had parents approach us about bullying. And so some concerns there. So I'm glad to hear about this program. I'm excited to see, I know it takes a village. It's not just on this program. And you ladies all work very hard. And everything that we can do to try to work together collaboratively so we do what's best for you.
And of course, whenever that video comes out, I'll do whatever I can to help promote it or whatever. We're developing lesson plans to use within the schools as well. That'll be part of it when we roll it out. There'll be lessons like that, but it's kind of a big deal to have two of your own in that video that will be shown all over the state. And then the program also, you got the pilot schools and the new schools that we added this year and even this next year are really on the cutting edge of this, because Kentucky and Tennessee, I think, reached out to look at putting the program into their state as well. And you guys are on the forefront of that, so that's exciting too. And I always get I tell you guys, I'm always excited when I come here and just about the whole county being involved. I think it's great.
Thank you very much for the presentation.
Yes, thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
And if you guys want to sneak on out here, that's fine too. Although you're not sneaking if I just announced it, so.
I'm gonna go Bobby's ladies dinner, they
Oh.
certainly deserve it.
Thank you all for everything
Peanut
you're
butter
doing.
parfait at
Thanks.
Dairy Queen, right?
All right. Next, number 7 on the agenda, approval of minutes. Superintendent recommends approval of the following minutes. May 28th, 2024 special meeting, May 28th, 2024 regular meeting, and June 3rd, 2024 special meeting.
I will make a motion that we approve the minutes for both May 28th, the special and the regular meeting.
I'll second that.
All right. We have a motion to approve the May 28th special meeting and regular meeting by Mr. Brogan and a second by Ms. Harvey. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed or abstaining? Let the record reflect by 4-0 vote, the motion carries.
I'll make a motion to approve minutes for the June 3rd special meeting.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion to approve June 3rd special meeting by Mr. Brogan and a second by Ms. Farley. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining?
Aye.
And let the record reflect by a 3-1 vote or a 3-0 vote. The motion carries with Ms. Harvey abstaining. Now moving on to item number 8, approval of the bills. We have on the agenda to pay R.T. Rogers and Safe and Sound. I'll make a motion that we pay those two.
Okay.
Second by Mrs. Harvey. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the record reflect by a 3-0 vote. The motion carries with Mr. Brogan recusing himself. Now, moving on to the rest of the bills. I'll make a motion to pay the rest of the bills.
I'll second.
Is there any further discussion?
This is probably just a common cost. But I saw on there was like $2,500 for Apple something or another. Does anybody have any idea what that's about?
Laptop for 63.
Yeah, I see the laptops on the front page, but I'm thinking it might even be on the Amazon. Yeah, it's like $2,500 from Daniel.
That's that Perkins loan. That's
So-
paying for the laptops on the first page here you're talking about?
Well, the $6,300 is on the front page, but if you go to the actual bills under, does Daniel have a card? I'm not sure.
On the credit card.
It's $24.99.80. Apple.com bill. Just wondering if anybody knew what exactly that was.
I know the ones on the front are for actual laptops. Daniel makes routine purchases through Apple though to maintain the software and the licensing through Apple. And this is probably the time of the year that is, but I'm guessing that's what it is. I don't know 100% sure, but He does have regular routine stuff. We have to purchase your Apple because we have Apple equipment. The cost on the front page is all laptops.
Right.
Graphics design program.
Yeah.
Just, if you
I
could
can-
just let me know. All right, thanks.
I just don't know that off the top of my head, sorry.
All right. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. The record reflect by a 4-0 vote, the motion carries. Hey. Item number 9, approve transfers and supplements. There are none. All right. Old business. Discussion or possible action regarding Grow Your Own program.
There's no report tonight.
All right. Moving on to number 10, item B, discussion, possible action regarding Jumping Branch Tabernacle parking lot.
I sent that copy of what Jumping Branch, more or less, they felt like we had some language in the copy that we presented to them that was, I guess, somewhat overkill, and anyway, they're more comfortable with what I sent to you guys, so I feel like it's probably best we take no action on this tonight until everybody has a chance to read it over and probably have it vetted by our attorney
I
and
sent it to him when you came in tonight.
maybe address it next
Right.
meeting.
All right, so we'll take no action on this. Moving on to C, discussion and possible action concerning the following policy, tuition reimbursement for educators.
I don't think we really have any updates.
No other updates.
There's nothing to update, so.
So, no action?
Did they go ahead and take action tonight, or?
If they're satisfied with the direction we're going.
It's what we've had Trey go over with you guys. I don't know if you want to approve that or just wait till next month to deal with that.
Is this something that Greg's been
Concern with CTE are.
questioning about? Is
It
this
was-
something that Greg's primarily been questioning about?
Yeah, it's with CTE.
Well, I think we need to
You
This is
can,
probably just
take no action.
take
Okay.
no action on that, leave it on the next one.
Okay, moving on to D. Discussion and possible action regarding CSBO contract.
Make a motion that we go into executive session based on West Virginia Code 6-9A-4, paragraph 2, personnel.
I'll second. We have a motion to go in executive session. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining, let the record reflect by 4-0 vote, the motion carries, and the time is
38.
5:38.
before you, pause that, Daniel just texted me about those. He said it's 4 computers for Miss Weichel's class. And that's what it is. It's a partial amount of the whole order though. So there's probably more to come for that CTE classroom. So that's what it is.
All right.
I'll let
Just candy.
Mine's more comfortable, I understand.
All right. Let the record reflect that came out of executive session at 5:49. And we'll call this meeting back to order. And before us, we have discussion, possible action regarding CSBO contract.
I'll make a motion that we approve the CSBO contract for the 24-25 school year with no changes to the original term according to West Virginia code.
I'll second.
All right, we have a motion by Ms. Harvey, second by Mr. Brogan. Is there any further discussion?
I'll just ask this. I know you and her are the only two contracted people, correct? I know you don't get the 5% that the state gives. Will
Correct.
Cassandra get that for sure?
She gets that. So.
Okay, okay.
State code.
All right. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the record reflect by 4-0 vote, motion carries. Now, go item E, discussion and possible action to amend previous motion and vote regarding $300 employee incentives. On June the 13th, 2023, the following motion was approved by the Summers County Board of Education.
Well, since it says discussion,
Yeah, I think I want to keep it a discussion tonight.
for whatever reason, I thought that we were done with this and it was gonna happen. But is it my understanding now that Trey says what we were planning to do wasn't legal?
You
You
can't
can't do
that.
it that way, but there may be an alternate way to do it.
And well, and I know I had a very scattered day, so I don't even remember what I read exactly, but I'm thinking it said it'd be really hard to work it out in time to put it in place.
Because it says fiscal year 24,
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
why. The other thing is to help you guys out, understand this, because after an attorney tells you all the stuff that you can and cannot do, I think good intentions are good intentions, but when you look at the law, it doesn't always jive up. But this county, out of all the county school systems, we provide, now this is on the professional side, so the service with the incentive that they give is, you know, how the attendance, we said if you miss 4 or less days, you get, but we also let people carry over 5 personal days. So they could get 10 days off. And so this county's the only one that gives that big of a help towards their days off. And also the state gives $500, but the county puts in another 500, so that's $1,000 for the professional. Service doesn't get the extra 500, but that's just because that's how it is in state code. But the county does support the staff, so I don't want people to think this is something you all are doing to jeopardize or hurt anybody. It's just we're following legal advice on what we can and cannot do.
Well, it was, I think all of our intention to hopefully at least for a year to provide, I mean, this is where this started, provide optical and dental.
I think it was a
For the-
recruitment
for the-
tool.
For the staff.
Yeah.
And then we were reduced to this $300 and anyway, I don't think we have a choice at this time but to rescind the previous motion and action for the $300 stipend until a later date. I guess that's my motion.
All right. And we have a motion to rescind previous motion made and passage by the Summers County Board last June.
With a $300 stipend.
I'll back that.
We have a motion and a second. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Abstaining, let the record reflect by 4-0 vote. Motion is carried. Moving on now to new business. Approved purchases over 25,000.
None. I know Mr. Brogan likes that.
Yeah. Discussion and possible action to approve Best Life Therapy for 2024-2025 school year.
Is this funded through IDEA? I noticed there were some that was on refills that was Patriot County.
We don't do enough. It's over element therapy. A lot of it will be graduate, a lot of it will be county. If it's in IUPs, it's something we pretty
Have
much
to go.
have to do, yeah. So, I mean, a lot of it does fall on the county funds, but it's one of those that we don't really have. And I think,
This is one of the lower.
yeah, this is one of them.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second.
Have a motion by Ms. Harvey and a second by Mr. Brogan. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed, abstaining. Let the record reflect by 4-0 vote. Motion carries. Moving on to item C, discussion, possible action to approve MOU with Southern Educational Services Cooperative.
We,
Bus operator
Oh,
training, that's all.
we do this every year. Before the ESC, it was through the RESAs. The nice thing working with the ESC is anytime we do this, we do get a little bit more of a return on our investment by getting money back to the county for using their services. So this training so far has worked out really well. They run it and it makes life easier for Brian and those guys. And I think you used to do this in your previous job, so you know a little bit about it.
Yeah. I'll make a motion that we approve this MOU with Southern Educational Services Cooperative.
I'll second.
Hey, we have a motion by myself, second by Mr. Brogan. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed or abstaining? Let the record reflect by 4-0 vote, the motion carries. Moving on to item D, discussion and possible action to approve the probation officer MOU.
You want to speak a little bit about this, Chad? With Josie?
Josie McNeely, she's our school-based probation officer. We have her salary is paid for by a grant, the recurring grant, and we pay the rest. So after that, Josie and I work hand in hand. Regarding attendance, primarily grades 6 through 12. We work together, truancy cases, filing petitions, contacting parents, contacting students. Our main focus this past year was truancy diversion programs to, in turn, get kids to come to school so we can increase our attendance rate, therefore increase test scores, et cetera. She is a true asset to our school system, to our county.
Go ahead.
What's the amount that we're talking here? Because it's not listed in MOU.
Well, actually, I was getting ready to ask the same question, and we could put this off until the next meeting and we could get those answers.
If you give me like 5 minutes, I can get you that number right.
And I'm gonna just say this, we were presented last meeting with a budget that's $800,000 in the red, and this is a job that we never had before until 3 or 4 years ago. And it's my opinion that it might be an area where we need to look at a cut. And I feel terrible. I mean, I understand that she's a mom, and as a board member, we just have fiduciary responsibility to try to get this budget back under control some way, somehow. We gotta start somewhere.
You want to table this or take no action tonight?
She's trying to get us some numbers. We might just need to recess or something for a couple minutes. I'm not sure how to handle it.
Will those numbers include, the figures that's in the last paragraph of the first page of the MOU for the salary, travel, cell phone, educational classes?
Actually, she doesn't get a raise and stuff. She just stay employed.
Oh, okay.
And I don't know that, right?
All right. So you want, what do you- she doesn't know about the pay raise either. 5%.
I feel like we need to see some concrete numbers on this, and let's deal with it next meeting.
No action taken. All right. Moving on to item E, discussion and possible action to approve insurance agency. Blue Ridge Risk Partners,
Sorry.
Blue Ridge Risk Partners, Benjamin Farley Agency.
You have this packet in the handout.
So Renee's gonna repeat herself, you wanna,
You-
Renee, we'll call you back after the meeting?
Just mute her.
You-
Yes,
All right, I'll call you
yes,
back.
please, I have to recuse myself from this part. Thank you.
So what are we looking at here? Is this to take the place of PEIs, or what are we?
No, this is for
No, this is,
insurance for
insurance for our county.
county.
And, I can have basically everybody to my right, was on the committee. And also Mr. Boone was on the committee as well to, look at a better way and more efficient way and better customer service with our insurance. And that also includes the bonding of the CSBO, myself, and the board president. So, you want to take the lead on this since you were part of the committee chair?
So in the past, we've worked with several different insurance agencies and it's kind of just been pieced out. So this insurance agency will do property. This insurance agency will be our brim person. This insurance agency does bonding. It's just kind of confusing as to who to call when. And then sometimes like workers' comp and brim can overlap some. When you have two different agencies, it's kind of confusing as to who to call. We've also, had a little bit of customer service there because it is confusing. Even when we call our insurance agents and you're not really sure which one it is, they only can talk to the companies they work with, not everybody. So we put out an RFP for an inclusive insurance agency. The RFP ran in the newspaper, and then we also reached out to all the insurance agencies we worked with to get them to answer the RFP. we got 4 responses. The RFP said we were gonna interview the top 3. Since there were only 4, we just went ahead and interviewed all 4 of them. Just to give them all a fair chance, and the committee all decided unanimously that, Blue Ridge Risk was the top choice. So there was a question, they all sent in packets and answered a questionnaire, but that's not how we ranked them. We ranked them on the questions we came up with and asked them as a committee, and a lot of it was based on customer service, because that was the area we were struggling with, was getting somebody who has a team that can answer all of our questions through one agent. So that's what the majority of our interview questions were about. So, are there any specific questions?
I just wondered if you put all those pieces of the pie together and ended up with a lower number than what we've been paying.
We don't actually pay the insurance agency directly. They make their money off of the policies. So regardless of who we go with, there's not like, the agency only makes money if we buy the policy through them. So say we go with Encova for workers' comp, which is who we have now. The Encova policy costs us X amount of money, and then the agency gets a cut of that. So we don't ever actually pay the agency for anything but the insurance premiums.
I got you.
So it's not really like a bid process, it's more of an interview process, and you just pick the company you want to work with.
With that being said, typically when you look at insurance companies, the potential is for your premiums to go down, right?
Yes. So we haven't signed anything with our, Brim Insurance is the only thing we can really have for our liability insurance. That's a state regulation. There's only one other company that can offer it, so most people go with Board of Risk for that. So there's not a whole
But
lot
that
of,
won't change.
that won't change. It's still going to be Brim for our liability. Our workers' comp, if we do go with our, recommended person, they'll put it out to bid, so we might, currently we're with Encova for workers' comp, but when they put it out for quotes, if somebody else comes up cheaper, we change. So you don't have to do that every year, and it just kind of depends on where you're at, but you do want to do it at least every 3 years. We did look at it last year through who does our workers' comp now, and Encova still remained the cheapest. So once we decide the agency we're working with, they'll put out fillers to see what quotes we can get cheaper for the insurance policies. But with Mr. Farley and Blue Ridge, they work with an abundance of companies, so they have a huge umbrella. So it's not like we're just stuck with the one company they work with. I'm speaking on workers' comp because that's what I know. They work with Encova, Travelers. There's a whole bunch of them that they can work out with. And then on the property as well, like we have to have the flood insurance on the high school. They can work through Nationwide, a bunch of different companies. So it's the agency's responsibility to get us the lowest price. Of course, we vet what they give us, but they're the ones that'll put all of those requests for quotes out on the individual insurance stuff.
So this would cover for,
So this would be any insurance that is not state regulated. So we have to have PEA for insurance. We have to have somebody that offers the Section 125, which we use American Fidelity for that. For now, we'll stay with that because those are all state regulated. In the future, they might be able to offer some Section 125. And then the only thing I know that we need to shop around for again before November is dental and vision. A lot of our employees are not happy with our dental and vision plans. That is something they can help us shop around. We just have a little bit of time before we have to do that. So they might be able to help us with that. Currently, we work with American Fidelity through that because they do our Section 125. But prior to then, Amanda wants to get with whoever we work with and see what our options are, because our employees just aren't happy with what we have there. And we made sure that that is something they can do. So Blue Ridge is perfectly capable of doing that if we choose to go through them.
And we're currently with, or the insurance agent we use now is
We currently use Massey for
Massey's.
some stuff. Our agency on record for Brim is Assured Partners. Not really sure how that happened. That's never really been a discussion. And then for workers' comp, we use Tawny Insurance Agency. So we currently have 3 different ones, and then we use American Fidelity for the benefits. That's why we
So
kind of.
going with this one would make us, we would be using them
We
solely.
would be using them as the agents. So anytime we have any
Right.
questions, they can help us navigate which policy it would be under. Whereas we have 4 different agents right now.
I'll make a motion, we approve Benjamin Farley Insurance Agency. Blue Ridge Risk Partners.
I'll second. We have a motion and a second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Let the record show by a 3-0 vote with Renee recusing herself. The motion is carried.
Well,
You're back on.
awesome.
All right, moving on to item F, discussion, possible action to approve student affiliation agreement, WVU Board of Governors, WVU School of Nursing.
This is an MOU due each year with just different names associated with it, but this really isn't an extra cost to the county. It's just an extra service for our kids if they're interested in going into the nursing program. They'll do this with all 55 counties being West Virginia University.
Make a motion that we approve the MOU. WVU Board of Governors, WVU School of Nursing.
This is a new program, right? Or
When you say new, what do you mean by that?
is it that, or am I thinking of West Virginia Tech that it announced? W Tech, I guess.
Heck, it does. They're doing, but Concord is also having nursing program as well. You're starting to see a lot of them pulling into nursing because it's like education. There's a high need for it, but West Virginia Tech is affiliated with West Virginia University. It gets a little confusing, but that'll be under that umbrella to work with them because you can see it there saying West Virginia Institute of Technology. So that would include tech in this with West Virginia University.
Was there a second? I'm sorry, I didn't hear.
Not yet.
I'll second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mr. Brogan, seconded by Mrs. Farley. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Abstaining? Let the record reflect by a 4-0 vote. Motion carries. Item G, discussion, possible action to approve MOU between Summers County School and Concord University Level Up Program.
Mr. Coon will give you a quick update.
And, Renee, can you hear me okay?
Yeah,
Okay.
thank you.
In the legislative session of 2023, which is House Bill 2005, and sorry, you all have a pile of papers that begins like this one right here. And there will be several that are front and back as well. House Bill 2025, the legislature gave the Higher Education Policy Commission, or the HEPC, and the Department of Education the they passed into law the ability for universities to establish dual credit that is done on campus for students that would be approved and want to have school in that fashion. In this particular initiative, we were approached by Concord University, and there are Monroe has approved this. It is before the Mercer County Board as well. They're working with it. Raleigh was in the initial stages. I don't think Raleigh has really jumped on board with it, but Monroe did approve it back in February. There are 4 tracks that would be available to our students: nursing, cybersecurity, teacher education, and social work. So really how the best way I can describe this is it would be dual credit on steroids. Right now, our dual credit is online. Students would have the ability to still complete some classes online should they choose and be in those pathways, but they would also have the ability to go to the Concord campus. There are some classes that you have to be on campus for. An example would be Education 210, which is the intro class in the teacher ed program. You have to be in person for that. You would be in a class with college students, instructed by the college professor. And in that case, in Education 210, the students would complete their field placement, which is 45 hours in one of our schools. They would be in our school. So I would again say this, we have Grow Your Own on the agenda. It's Grow Your Own, just amplified as well. The tuition for students within a county school system is free. It's free to them. They still count as a student for state aid. We still get the state aid money. Their classroom would just be on the Athens campus, or if they're online, they would be online at school as well. There is money that is channeled from the HEPC to the university, but that's done. That's between the colleges. That's on the college side. Our students are completely free. They are essentially a Concord student, and they're a Summers County student as well. How it looks for a student, essentially this will be for the highest level students. You can see in your packet there the admissions requirements. They have to have a 3.5 GPA. They have to be engaged or entered into one of those four pathways, and the principal and the counselor have to recommend them. They have to meet all that criteria, or we would not admit them to the program. 3.5 GPA, that's high for us, but that would be a student who should be able to succeed in that environment. When a high school student is enrolled, if they're sitting in a professor's class on the Athens campus, they are seen as a college student unless they disclose that. So they are the benefit of this would be is a kid who is looking, at going to an Ivy League school or a high level research institution that gives them just another feather in their cap to get their resume, their application to stand out. So really, we're looking at a very, very small number of kids. And right now, there are 3 kids who have submitted an application and are awaiting approval should we decide to go that route. On in your packet there's a waiver, and the university is required to sit in person with the student and the parent and go over this waiver. It was developed by the legal team at Concord. Like I said, I confirmed this morning with the associate provost at Concord, Dr. Liptak, and they are required to sit face to face with that child and have them sign with their parent. So there's no way to get around that, and they're going to spell out exactly what's expected of them. The expectation from us as well as them is that they behave like a Concord student. They'll be held to our code of conduct here in Summers County Schools, and also the Concord Code of Conduct, Honor Code, all that goes from both institutions, the school system and the institution. In your packet, you can see the pathways there. These are the courses that are offered. And as far as the MOU, that's generated by the HEPC, and that's standard for any institution and school district. And there's 4 MOUs in there that would be signed by the superintendent, and the Concord administration for each pathway. So that's an overview of it at this point. If you have any specific questions,
No cost to us, no cost to the students,
right?
right?
And we approve the students that go. We have, they just don't go, well, in theory, they could declare as a homeschool student, and go on their own. They take homeschool students, but if they're under our umbrella, we approve them. They have to have the letter, they have to have the GPA. And to be quite frank, I fought for the higher GPA. Because I think that's a high school GPA and a college GPA. I think the college GPA is
Especially there.
yeah, a whole lot harder to get. From personal experience, my first semester GPA in college was my lowest. You really hit a buzzsaw there. So, like I said, there's, as child doesn't have to go. We still offer the standard curriculum. We still offer dual credit with Mr. Hartwell and wherever they want to take it at the school. This is just one more cherry on top for exceptionally high flying students who would want to be in that environment.
Honestly, this seems almost too good to be true. How can we go about making sure that everybody knows about this, parents included?
We've actually already brought them on campus. We had Dr. Liptak and the chairs of the 4 departments that are involved, the professors that are in those departments. We brought in the sophomores, juniors, and freshmen, sophomores, and juniors, and presented to them in the auditorium. That's why we already have three students who have.
And anybody that's very serious at all about their education, this is a no-brainer.
What I would be, and I would emphasize, I would say that with caution, is
I hope we have qualified. kids.
exactly.
That's
Exactly.
yeah.
And I think that's going to come down to the Dr. Green and Ms. Cox getting together and saying, and being advising the student. And just FYI, Dr. Liptak herself will be the advisor for any high school student that is part of the Level Up program. So
The cautionary tale is this, though: if a kid doesn't take it serious and they don't do well, that affects their status on their GPA for college too. So you are now creating a transcript, and it's tough when you do the traditional setting. It can be even tougher if you're a kid that thinks, oh, I got this. They have to take it very serious. And I think the 3 that we have, I think they're pretty quality, and I think they'll be able to handle it because I know their backgrounds and their family values, and I think they're a little bit more set up for it than the average person out there. But I think getting these kids involved in these meetings with Concord, and then the Gear Up program we have, that has helped out to expose these kids to secondary education or post-secondary education, excuse me, while they're in junior and senior high levels to get them. Because you're right, this is a no-brainer. If your kid can handle it, you can go from a senior in high school to a sophomore in college, and that just saves you money. And they get you out in the workforce a little quicker too, which that's the goal. Is we're hurting for all these positions. Let's get these people moved quicker.
and essentially what you're doing here is you're just giving them the college you're in the actual class. It's one thing to be on an online dual credit, and I think we had the reimbursements. I think we've had some reimbursements already. There's a lot of kids that do that. A fraction of those, I would be honest with you and say they should go on campus. And some may not want to, because you're giving up the high school lunchtime and bus rides and all that. Now, I will say this, Concord is deliberately setting up the schedule to be, say, from 9 to 2 roughly. So if a kid plays ball in the evenings, if they're an athlete in the band, they can get back and do that.
And so what's the transportation?
It will be on their own. They would have.
Yeah.
And, all right, so I'm looking at the core education portion on the last page.
Yep. Oh, this one.
Yep.
Yep.
This one.
This one right here is the one pager.
The one sheet.
Like English 11 is English 101. Is that what you're talking about?
Yes.
Okay.
So that's my
Yeah.
question.
Yeah.
So what this is saying is that if I, as a junior at the high school, take English 101, that counts for my English 11, or if I, as a junior, take Summers County's English 11, that counts for English 101.
So as in the, once it's all off the ground, because right now we're in some transition because this is brand new. English 11, if a kid comes in 11th grade, they can come in 11th or 12th.
Sure.
Their English 11 would be done through English 101. And then English 12, English 102, and they would take
So
those.
if
on
I'm
two
doing
different
this
years.
program, I'm doing the Concord classes
Yes,
and not
yeah.
Summers County
Now-
classes.
But you'll be given the credit as a
Sure.
high school student, yeah.
Now, we'll start looking at this totally, say with this year's freshman and sophomore. Because we can start, kids who are really interested in this, Ms. Cox can start planning and assigning them accordingly. Now, right now, a kid may have English 11 and English, they may have taken the equivalent already in dual credit. They would just move on through the program. Or a senior this year would not finish the whole track, but they would at least get the experience to put on their resume, their application to college, or they could go to that institution.
Knock out some
Yeah.
credits.
I mean, I think personally, even if you're not a so-called, I don't think they're using the word completer, but you're still a leg up. It's beneficial should you choose
Oh, yeah.
to do it.
We had dual enrollment.
Yeah.
And it helped me get this number one done.
Mhm.
Yeah, Erica, she took the credits in high school and it was,
And when I went through,
It
we
was
had
nice.
sociology. I think I took one, we had one or two. Now they just have a menu here that they can take. But they will line up in the 4 tracks. We'll say the 3 that are interested now are nursing. The side, of course, we talk about grow your own frequently in education. But cybersecurity is very budding, is a budding field. It's exploding. And so, of course, social work is huge. Yeah, these are 4 areas that are very much needed right here within Southern West Virginia.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
thank you.
I make a motion that we approve the MOU between Summers County and Concord to level up.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion by Mrs. Harvey and a second by Mr. Brogan. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Opposed? Stating let the record reflect by 4-0 vote, the motion carries. Now, moving on to personnel.
You want to make that adjustment for the cheerleading that you talked about earlier?
Yes.
Adam, you want to give them the
Yeah,
cheerlead?
Bethany is head middle, not assistant. That everything else there is the same.
All right. You have resignations, retirements, employment of professional, employment of service, employment substitute teachers for 24-25 school term, employment of homebound teachers for 24-25 school term, extracurricular professional at Summers County Comprehensive High School, auxiliary coaches at Summers County Comprehensive High School, employment for summer service, summer substitute service, and summer substitute teachers.
On the employment professional, the first one that came from social studies to special ed is this are we losing one of our 4 subjects?
No, not at this point. And we can't, right now, the legislature has required that we teach a personal finance class where it used to be absorbed into social studies. So we will have to repost this.
But there is a possibility we could look at absorbing that social studies position. We could do that possibly. But we can leave that for another day right now.
I'll make a motion that we approve the superintendent's recommendations for Personnel.
I'll
A
second.
second.
Give it to Renee.
Give it to Renee, okay.
All right, we have a motion by Mr. Brogan and a second by Ms. Farley. Is there any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Stating that the record reflect by 4-0 vote, the motion carries. Okay, now, moving on to 13, superintendent's report.
We had our construction meetings today, so this is actually good timing with everything. Hinton area, Dan Hill construction has done a great job. They're running on time. Matter of fact, they could be done sooner than later, but they're waiting on a few products that the lead time on certain products, it just takes longer than we'd like, and they probably won't get those until late June, early July, but they will be done by the end of July, and that was part of the contract to be done by the end of July on the 31st. We told them with the lead time, we understand, we can work with them. That's not that big of a deal. Also at Hinton area, we have the Hinton Area Foundation supporting other renovations with the Steely Foundation helping out as well. Prince Management is currently gutting all the elementary bathrooms and getting those cleaned up and prepared to put them back together. Those bathrooms have needed a huge renovation to them, and so that's pretty exciting to see them getting those bathrooms cleaned up. They duly need that at this point in time. Frank is putting down the tile that we ordered last year that didn't come in till late. And remember that basement floor, first floor, where it was left as concrete and we polished it up? That he's about 3/4 of the way finished. So Frank has been working on that tile to put it back down. So pretty exciting. Hinton area's looking real nice. The high school, middle school addition is going well. I think this drier weather is really helping out. We're starting to get some things knocked out. It's probably about 90 to 95% complete when it comes to putting the building together. The final touches will be on the inside of the building. So a lot of painting's been done. The lights are on, the ceiling tiles in. They're working on the bathrooms. The gymnasium still needs to be completed, and that's getting close to being done. But they are moving as quickly as they possibly can. There's a lot of different people moving around that facility, which is good news. The STEM lab, all the cabinetry, it looks sharp in there. That's getting almost complete. You just have to walk through it and see it. It's getting there. It just takes some time, but everything is moving as quickly as it possibly can with the amount of people that they have, but it's going pretty well.
Is there a new ETA on that?
It's, I would say the middle of August. But you have substantial completion and then you have final completion. Substantial will be probably the beginning of August. The final completion, that probably won't be till probably September because you have to go through punch list. But, you just got to get occupancy and get in there, and then you'll probably have a couple employees finishing up any punch list items that's typical of a construction of that size and magnitude.
I mentioned to you before, I'm sorry to interrupt your report, but when we're getting close, if there's a way to pull people away from the gym to finish the school, it might not be possible, but if it is, I think that would be a good suggestion to not worry about the gym till last.
Well, the gym has to be done now because the HVAC system.
I just mean the final, like what you're talking about.
Oh,
Like if
yeah,
it needs painted or something, we
Yeah.
don't worry about paint.
yeah,
About the
that,
school,
I
that
agree
kind
with
of thing.
that. Yeah, right now they're just trying to get the whole system put together and the gas company to set up our gas because that's what our HVAC system is running on, and we got to get the air quality, the dampness out of there because we got to put down the tile floor and the gym floor. So it all kind of, it's a dance right now. I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, the gym floor, that would be another one. That's probably a whole different subcontractor.
It is. Cincinnati Flooring is who they subcontract with. Yes. Matter of fact, the one company, what's their name that does all the other stuff? The backboards, the scoreboards. They were here today to get measurements. So we're getting a lot of final touches. It's just getting the product in there and getting it down. So. COVID, the last round of COVID was a little over $8 million. we have done a real good job of trying to spend it down so we can be done by September of this year. We have around $725,000 unencumbered. So we do have some money there that is not officially encumbered. We have some ideas like you take like tonight's game changer, that could be one that could be used with COVID money. So things of that nature could be used for that. Another one that could be used is on your superintendent's report. Jessie Weinberger is the lady who wrote that book that I gave you guys a little over 8 months ago about the boogeyman is real and he's in your back pocket, talking about cell phones. We would like to ban cell phones in the schools this fall. She is available and we can use COVID money to spend her time with us for 3 full days. It'll be around $12,000 for her to be here 3 days. We have her scheduled for September 10th, September 11th, and September 12th. On the 10th and the 12th, she would be working with 4th, 5th, 6th, 7th, 8th, and 9th grade students. The rationale behind that is the age of where they are with cell phones. If you look at the kids older than that, they probably have gotten to the point where, let's be honest, they've been warned enough about some things. And she said it's just better to focus on 4 through 9. She said on the 11th, that evening, we could have her be at the Ritz or someplace like that to have all parents come, because since Wednesday nights are church nights, especially for youth, we could have all the parents come during that time and have her educate parents on how much cell phones are an addicting habit, that it is deteriorating our children and eating at their brains when it comes to not really being in control, because it's such an addicting habit forming trait that I don't think people quite understand how many kids at age 8 are sexting and getting into pornography, and they think it's normal. And she has got enough research to back up why we should not have kids on these phones, period, let alone during school time. And it increases anxiety, it increases aggression, and it just continues to be a part of a problem in our society. So we talked about vaping tonight with Game Changer. The other one is a top problem is cell phone usage and causing problems and disruptions. So this woman came to a couple of our superintendent conferences. I talked to McDowell County. They had her come and they said it was such a movement for that county to hear this woman talk, and the parents and the staff really, they were really enlightened about what you can tell a kid or have a conversation about it and start opening up the conversations about cell phones instead of saying it's bad. Well, give me the rationale why it might be bad, but also give me the rationale of what can be a good tool too. So there is a better way to educate our kids, but those are the 3 items I just wanted to let you guys know about that we're processing as we move forward. The one thing I will tell you about this COVID money, we probably will return some of the money because there is some of the money saying you have to spend it on homeless students. We don't have enough homeless students to spend all that money, so that money would have to be, it has to be sent back. The good news is we don't have that many homeless students, but we're going to try to find a way to spend that as much as we possibly can on homeless students without, crossing that line from the federal government. So if you see that we might end up sending some money back, it's going to be because of we don't have enough homeless students to meet that quota, but that's part of the strings attached from the federal government, what the money had to be spent on. So just want to give you guys an update on that. Any questions?
All right. Moving on to item 14, discussion of next agenda.
Add a discussion about setting up a planning meeting,
A what meeting?
a planning meeting.
Work session.
Oh, sorry. Just try to get some dates.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to hear from New School.
They're coming on the 25th. Yep. I just didn't want to give you too much tonight. Yep, they're here on the, Derek said they'd have a presentation for you.
Guess I've kind of passed up the time to ask this question, but you said you had the Weinberger lady lined up for September something. We had to pay that in advance. How's that gonna work? I thought it had to be spent by September.
Well, we penciled her in for those dates, but we can still pay her that. We're gonna make that happen. Using COVID money, is that what you're asking?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It has to be spent by September 30th.
Oh,
So
okay,
we'll have to pay her on the date she's.
okay, good. I didn't realize that.
Sorry, I just didn't answer that.
All right, that's good.
I was taking a drink, so you're good. Yeah,
Anything
we're
else?
cutting it close.
All right. You know about the motion? I can't see it.
Time is 6:41. Move we adjourn.
All right. 41. Thank you.
Thank you, Renee.
Thank you.
All right.